using some Dollar Tree napkins, some Dollar Tree cotton balls, and a little bit of water and glue mixed into a glass container. I've got the wires left over from a thing of flowers. I bring in some more wires a little bit later that I also got from the Dollar Tree. We're going to start by wrapping those plain wires with some napkins so that the cotton balls and glue have something to stick on. It's really a simple process. We're just going to tear them into strips and then glue them onto the wires and twist, twist, twist. Once the wires are all done, we can unroll our cotton balls. We're going to need these in strips and little pieces as we go. We go through quite a bit of cotton, so it's nice to have it sort of prepared in advance so that you're not having to fight with it later. You'll notice quite often that my hands get really sticky because of the cotton, so the less manhandling those cotton balls when your hands are sticky is the better. I'm going to start with a very simple, just twisted wire armature for the little Miss Mouse that we're making. And I clip her arms down, so many times because she's way bigger than I meant her to be. So as we go, we'll clip her arms and feet down. As it stands, I'm just putting on her little legs now, a couple twists around. The nice thing is with the wire, you can bend it any way you want. So once you've sort of got a basic design, you can figure out how to bend it from there. Twist up that tail a little bit. And I'm opening those skinny wires, also from the dollar store. These are great wires. I use these for all kinds of different projects, but I will be using these for her tail and for her wings a little bit later on. You'll see that. So now we'll just make sure this is nice and secure. We're going to double wrap it all the way around her body, all the way down to where her tail would be. And there we go, basic little armature. And I'm going to start by wrapping some cotton just sort of loosely around her belly. And up it over her shoulders a little bit. And then to secure it in place and give myself a little bit of some like girth sort of to work on, I'm just using some of the napkin to wrap around the cotton balls to sort of give her a little bit of body without having to build up so much. And then a little dab of hot glue holds it into place. Oh my goodness, her arms and legs are so long. All right, wrap her little head a little bit, tap it down with some glue. Now this is about a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2-to-1 water to glue, and it's probably stickier than it needs to be, but I like it to be stable, so I'm just going to wrap around her body, and when I get to the end, if I need to stick the ends down a little bit, a little bit of the glue mixture. Wrap it up and around your bum. Got to give her a nice little bum to sit on. This is a bit thick, so maybe I'll just split this in half or maybe in thirds. That's much better. Put around her legs a little bit. Now I made the mistake of wrapping them all in the different directions, so oftentimes I'm spinning them the wrong way and unwinding them. Terrible. See? Glue stuck on my fingers. Son of a gun. Now, if you're making these, leave them a little bit longer, just in case you decide that you want your mouse or your little creature to be a little bit longer. My little one needed to have much shorter little legs. Now, she is part of a bigger project, so she needed to fit in the space that I had available for her. spin those little cotton wraps around her legs. We do this a lot. There's a lot of adding and tapping it down with the glue. Probably not going to talk all the way through it. I'll probably just give you some music to listen to as you watch along. If something comes up that I think you should know about, I'll let you know. Spin, spin, spin. Now I got my cotton balls from the dollar store because that's part of the challenge associated with this mouse. But you can definitely pick up the cotton balls from Walmart or the pharmacy and get a better quality. These ones kind of have little, I don't know, little bumps in them, which ultimately didn't diminish the final project. But, you know, a smoother cotton ball probably would be better. Little head here. No, that snoot is way too long. Give that a little trim too. Now, this little mousie is from Mouse Meadow, and Mouse Meadow is found in the fairy realm. And as I am a maker of fairies, it was important to me that my little mouse from Mouse Meadow also was a fairy. So in the end, we're going to make some wings for this little lady and give her a nice, cute little dress. And she's a mouse fairy, and I'll show you how to do the wings as well. But she's come all the way from Mouse Meadow to come to visit the village of Fae, which is in the fairy realm. And the mice are known for being really good little bakers. So, you know, maybe if you wanted to enjoy what the mice were doing, you grab yourself a couple cookies as you sit and watch. My understanding is that the mice from Mice Meadow, they make the best chocolate chip cookies. Just clipping her feet and making sure that the cotton is wrapped all the way down to her little toes, all the way down her little hands, all the way to the end of her little tail. And you don't really want to soak the mice or the little creatures. You just want to, just enough to stick it. You can let it sit and dry for a bit. I tend to use the oven though. She'll be going in for a bit of an oven and not too long. Dry her off a bit. Just want to bulk her up a bit more, I think, first though. Oh, the sticky fingers. Oh. Ah. Give her some little thighs there. Add a little extra for the thighs. Or little haunches, I guess. Try to keep the cotton as sort of as smooth as you can as you're working with it. Makes a smoother product in the end. Oh, she's coming along though. She's so cute. Here we go. I'll give her another little snip on her feet. They're just too long. She doesn't need long feet like that, just little feet. Pardon my dirty pie tray. That's for all of my arts and crafts stuff. And she's just going to go into the oven at about 200 for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I just want her sort of outside to be dry so that she can be worked on again without pulling off the wool that I've already added on. And so now she's done and she's back out, and I'm just going to continue the process. Add a little fiber, add a little glue, add a little fiber, add a little glue. It just works its way up. She's a little lumpy still, but that's all right. We'll add some more. See if we can't smooth her out a bit. She still needs her ears too, so. Speaking of ears, let's do that now. We're just going to fold the little fibers in half and wet them down. And I like to leave a long tail so there's lots to attach to the body. You decide where you want your little ears. I like my mice to have like slightly bigger ears. Oh, look at that little face coming along. I swear, ears make everything better. Have you ever noticed that? Little kids who wear sweaters with ears. Oh, so cute. How cute is that? I can say when my little ones were small, my sister made a beautiful little teddy bear sweater that had ears. And oh, it was the cutest thing to see my little boys with their little ear sweater on. And oh, makes my heart melt. Look at that. So much cuter with ears. Now, ultimately, I'm not so worried about how lumpy and bumpy she is because she is actually going to be dressed in a little dress. So a lot of this won't even show, but I do want to make sure that her face is cute and that her little ears are cute. Now, I'm not using a super big brush either because I wanted to have a little bit of control as to where I put the pieces of cotton. And I didn't really need a whole lot of glue, so I just sort of a medium-sized brush, I guess. And again, this being part of the challenge, these brushes were purchased just for this particular craft. Not quite done. We're just going to fix those ears up a bit more, a little bit more dimension and more depth to them. I don't want floppy ears. I want them to have a little bit of substance. Oh, she's getting there. Now, I've probably in this whole process baked her maybe 3 times. You don't see that. I just show you the once, but she did probably go through the oven at least 3 times to dry her out in between so that I wasn't just making a soggy mess. And you can decide what you want to do for yours if you want to do that or not, or if you just want to let them sit overnight to dry, you can do that too. But I'm impatient and I like faster crafts, so I baked her. All right, well, her body is just about done, I think. A couple more little pieces and I'm gonna call it a day. And then we get to the fun part. We get to do that painting and the decorating her little body. All right, so I wanted a little brown mouse, and well, that's the best paint I had for this project anyway, so brown it is. And I just keep watering it down with my water, and I don't want it to be too thick. I kind of wanted it more translucent. So I kept using a lot of water to sort of just spread it around and move that pigment from the paint without it being a thick coat of paint. It should get all their little back and stuff. And now I mixed up a little bit of pink for the inside of her ears and her nose, which I just did with a tiny little heart-shaped nose. And then her little feet all get a little bit of pink too. Her little paws, wee little pink paws. And a little bit more brown. And I think I've watered it down a little bit more, added a little bit more white to it. Nice thing is if you don't like where something is, you can just paint over it. So if it doesn't quite work for you, you just paint over it. Lots of white on the belly. A little bit lighter pink for her cheeks so that they don't look quite the same as her nose. Oh, it's time for her eyeballs. Just want to do your very best to try to get them in the right spot. Now, you could have used beads or anything else, but really in this case, I just like the painted ones. They're easy to do, and I don't have to worry about making sure that the beads are in properly or anything like that. And there we go. Little Miss Mousy is done. Now, on with the wings. So, as I said, my little fairies in fairyland all have wings. And with this challenge, because it was only stuff from the dollar store, and eventually I'll get the rest of the video put out for that challenge, but I really could only use the things that I could get from the dollar store and from within a budget. So this plastic sheet that I'm using is actually just the plastic from the cover of the epoxy that we're going to use in a little bit to seal these wings. So I started with just drawing out a very basic wing design that I was going to do and just using some paint to paint the veins and the design onto the plastic. Now you need to do this twice. So you get both sides of the wings. And we're going to flip the plastic over and paint on both sides. So there we go. We'll just get this very basic design here. And then we'll paint on both sides so that when you do it, when you put the wings on the little mouse, uh, there's one that goes in one direction and one that goes in the other direction. Now I tried this once where I just used paint to paint in all um, the little sections, but I didn't like how it turned out. So we're going to do an epoxy and paint mix to create the colors within the wings, um, just to make sure that they kind of have that translucency that wings have. And my wire is way too white for this, so we'll just give this a little paint. You want to make sure that they're one for each side when you go to paint them. And now you can see why I just added that little bit of black to the end of the wire so that they kind of hide on the wings themselves. We'll start with a good dollop of epoxy. This is 5-minute epoxy, so it dries really, really fast. You just squeeze the tube and then you mix them together and they dry and cure within 5 minutes, which is great. It's a nice fast thing. I probably should be wearing gloves here, just so you know, but I'm not. So don't do as I do, do as I say. And well, no, that sounds terrible too. Don't do that. Do whatever you want. But the safety is you should be wearing gloves. So I just mixed up my epoxy and I added a tiny little bit of paint to it to give it some color. And I'm just spreading it on the two sections of wings that I want in that darker sort of red color. Then I'm going to add a little bit of white to my current mixture, so it makes it a little bit lighter. And then I will add that to the two sections of my wings. Make sure to do it on both sets of wings. Scrape up all that epoxy. We don't want it to go to waste. You got to move fairly quickly, but not super, super fast. Like, I would be careful about how intricate your wings are, but, and I added a little bit more white, and there we go. We'll get the last little sections on my wings. And I just love this method. I think it's so much fun. You can mix whatever colors you want. I love the end result. I think is great. Now, because I went over the lines, I'm just going to retouch up those little dots that I had there. There we go, some wings. Now, to make some clothes for Little Miss Mouse, because I don't have fabric in my budget, because this is a budgeted craft for me, I just used some of those cotton balls and I thought, I'll just spread them out on some wax paper. I guess I could have just used the silicone mat, which is what I'm on anyway, but I just thought I'd give it a try. And I love how it worked out actually. It was such a great thing to do. If I were ever to create a craft kit from the dollar store, uh, where you could do all kinds of different things, cotton balls absolutely we would be part of it because they're so versatile. I love that I can just add a little bit of paint, a little bit of glue, and I've kind of created my own fabric. I mean, really. So in this case, I'm painting some green. Now you got to make sure you flip it over too, though, because the other side doesn't seep through all the way. And then my little mouse is going to be wearing red, so she needs a little red dress. Well, it's not a dress actually; it's an apron. But you see how the other side's still white? Yeah, you got to flip it over to make sure you saturate it with color. And I'm doing this while the glue is still wet. There we go. Now, the one thing that I didn't show you is that when you're done, you want to put a full layer of epoxy over the full wing on both sides. So I didn't show that. And then I also added those little wires in. But you can see here, I've got that dried cotton ball fabric. And it's great. It just bends the way I want it to bend, and I can cut it. And now, silly me, this is the ribbon that I purchased from the dollar store. That is also part of the other project. Um, and I didn't measure properly. So that first skirt that you see there is too small. It didn't fit Little Miss Mouse's waist. So we're going to redo it just using a little bit of hot glue since I don't have access to needle and thread at this point. So just pleat it up a little bit so it looks like a little skirt. All right, little Miss Mouse, let's get you dressed. Oh, that's much better. There we go. Just glue that down. And then I use some of those cotton ball fabric I created, I guess. And I just created this little halter top that I'm attaching to her. This little apron. I did the halter top and then I've got the skirt there. Now I tried to do a little flower too, but I don't really like how it looked. So you can see it on the screen, but I don't end up using it because I don't really like it. Yep. Just poke her wings, them into her back. I'm going to use a pin. And then I'm just going to use a bit of glue to sort of secure them in once I figure out where I want them. And again, this fabric is just so great to work with because I can do whatever I want with it. Now she needs a little bow, so I used some of the green to create little leaves, and I made a little bow, and now I'm just gonna do some added dots on some other pieces to give it a little bit more interest. Put a little bow in her hair. Put a little ribbon around. You can see that flower in there. It wasn't very good. I didn't like it. There we go. Now I have some flowers that I used in the other project that I just used one of the little blossoms. See that I'll pop that on there so she matches the little suitcase that I made. And we'll put in a tiny little ribbon to top her, to finish her off. And there we go. Little Miss Mouse is done. I hope you like her. She is part of a bigger set. When I get the other video, I'll attach them together. But for right now, this is little Miss Mouse. I hope you love her.